Exciting to be here. Exciting day for Mandiant. Exciting day for the industry. And today, Kevin was covering some of the top threats and concerns from our customers and other folks that we're working with. And what I want to do now is spend a little time talking about how we're going to help with those, specifically the Mandiant Advantage platform. Tomorrow is actually the exact one-year anniversary of when we launched the Advantage platform, initially with just the threat intelligence module. And it's been really interesting to see in just 1 year how it's progressed, the new capabilities that we have, and we'll give that a quick overview now. To best understand the Mandiant Advantage platform is to really understand a core belief. And that core belief is that effective security is not based on security controls alone, but on the expertise and intelligence behind them. And we see this come forward time and time again, where due to misconfigurations and other reasons, old attacks are still effective. Broad attacks, like supply chain attacks Kevin referred to, are effective. And new attacks are still effective. And consistently, the difference between an effective outcome and an ineffective outcome is the expertise interpreting the signal, managing the controls, and the intelligence providing the context. The challenge with expertise is that it doesn't scale naturally. And so that leads into the strategy for us with the Mandiant Advantage platform, which is to scale our expertise and intelligence in automated solutions delivered through it. So when we talk about the Mandiant Advantage platform, what are the kind of the high-level things to take away? What is it exactly? Obviously, it's a SaaS platform, but its simplest idea around it is that it's automation of the Mandiant expert to really augment and be a virtual extension of the customer's team. We want to bring that expertise directly into the operations of security and get the benefits of what that means. Additionally, it's multi-vendor XDR. There's a lot of control vendors that have rushed to call their technology stack XDR, but the reality is, again, controls alone are not going to drive effective security. It's the expertise that's going to interpret the signals of those controls. It's the intelligence that's going to provide the context. And that's why we see Mandiant Advantage is really being able to sit as an overlay over the endpoint, network, email, cloud controls that are deployed, as well as SIEMs, analytic systems, et cetera. What's great about this multi-vendor strategy is when we're really uniquely positioned to deliver on this, is that it sets this up for it to be a partnership. Rather than you having to make a decision between what controls are going to be in your environment and if you're going to work with Mandiant or not, the Advantage platform provides a long-term relationship with us where we can work with you as a trusted advisor and guide you through the changes that are taking place in the industry, as well as work with the vendors you have today and the vendors you might move to as you adopt new technologies in the future. And likely we're helping in the data we're providing to actually drive those decisions. So the Mandiant Advantage platform is really a suite of module families, and we'll kind of give a high-level overview of these now and talk kind of about where we're going. And so we have threat intelligence, which is that external view, the attacker, security validation, which pivots inside to get an understanding of the relevance of that intelligence, automated defense, which is really about better security, being more efficient, more effective, and the attack surface management, which is really seeing yourself through the eyes of an attacker. And so let's jump into threat intelligence for a second. This is the one that we launched literally 1 year ago, tomorrow. And ultimately, the goal is to provide a view from the front lines. We know that Mandiant's doing 200,000 hours a year of breach response. We've got a robust global adversary intelligence system, machine intelligence from our partners, operational intelligence from our managed defense. All of this drives in then to us being able to provide a very customer-specific view of what the top threats targeting you and your peers right now are, where you should be focused. We can also then leverage the early knowledge advantage that comes from our breach and adversary intelligence. We've launched, when we think of an adversary, we typically think of an APT group or a FIN group. And in the last 3 years, we've graduated 13 of those, meaning we've publicly come out and talked about it, published a blog post, established a new group. On average, we were actually tracking those attackers and providing intelligence to our customers for 2.5 years before that public announcement. And so partnering with Mandiant is really that frontline view of what's relevant right now. If you're just pulling data off of open source and random blogs, you don't know if that's actually what the attackers are doing currently. The other part with our threat intel is it's both strategic and operational. So we have lots of executive-style reporting. We've got focused on the global impact, focused on answering board-related questions, but then we also can drive into IOCs, operationalizing them, control integrations, detection rules. So it's a full suite. And obviously, all of this is integrated into our workflows. One of the things that we have, one of our biggest used features is actually our browser plugin, which allows analysts to really see things through the eyes of Mandiant as they're looking at their screen, highlighting and providing context. So threat intelligence is now a year old on the Mandiant Advantage platform, and it's really the basis for which we're doing everything else off of. So security validation. This is really understanding the outcome of an attack before it happens. It's emulating attacker behavior in the production infrastructure to see an incident response report before the incident takes place. How is this threat intelligence relevant to me? When this attack happens, what am I going to block? What am I going to detect? What am I going to miss? What's it going to look like? And then be able to leverage that data to drive prioritization and drive focus on remediation. That is then continuously proving effectiveness with quantifiable data. We're asked a lot of questions about our effectiveness of security, or there's the latest headline, what's going to happen? It's very challenging to know the answers to those things. Validation is going to provide that data, not just one time, but on a continuous basis. Once we have that data, we can actually really truly talk about optimization and rationalization. Are the dollars we're spending on the controls effective? Where are we getting the most bang for our bucks on the threats that are targeting us? And are these controls staying relevant based upon the attacker behaviors changing? We publish a survey every once in a while called our Security Effectiveness Report. And the last time we did this, about a year ago, we showed that 75% of the attacks that we run through validation are not blocked and not detected. And the number one reason for that is misconfiguration, whether that's at a single point in time or misconfiguration that evolves over time. And so we talk about that as environmental drift. The environment that we're defending is constantly changing. IT's making changes, networking's making changes, there's things moving to the cloud. One point in time view of what's taking place of effectiveness is not effective. You have to do this in a continuous manner and understand how that's changing from the baseline and if something has drifted. So with that, I actually want to take a second and introduce a new product offering that we're launching, where we're focused specifically on taking the power of the validation platform and packaging that up to target the ransomware challenges that Kevin was talking about and we're all very familiar with. And so we're announcing a new product called Ransomware Defense Validation. This is taking the real ransomware from the field, real ransomware that we're finding targeting our customers, instrumenting that through our validation platform to continuously test against those ransomware families and provide hard data on a continuous basis to enable people to answer questions around their control readiness, to respond to DarkSide, to respond to Ryuk, to respond to the ransomware families that are targeting us right now. So we're really excited about this. It's a pre-packaged solution. It's all SaaS available through the Mandiant Advantage platform, easy to try and easy to deploy. I'm going to kind of show a couple screenshots here of what this is going to look like. Here I'm kind of looking at a high-level dashboard, looking at the family and trying to understand, based upon that family's execution in our production environment, are we going to catch this during the unpack stage, the execution stage, or actually the encrypt stage? Now, when I said that we've taken the real ransomware families and instrumented them, what that means is that we're controlling what they can do, what they can encrypt, and how it enables us to execute that safely in the production environment. But it gives us real information. What's going to happen when this ransomware attack hits us? So if we kind of drill into this a little more, what kind of data can we provide? And these are actual screenshots. In this case, we ran a test on Ryuk, and our controls are going to block it. And we're also going to detect a meaningful event. Antivirus has detected it. It's categorized as severe. We can even track if that's making it to our SIM and being seen as an alert. In other cases, not so good. Nobody ever wants to see the welcome to the dark side on their screen when they log in the morning and your computers and servers are encrypted. But in this case, we're able to do this safely, we're able to do this continuously, and we're able to validate and verify what the outcome is going to be to provide quick answers based on real data. So the benefits from this are pretty obvious, but obviously we're going to identify those gaps and those misconfigurations ahead of time. We're going to answer questions based upon that confidently and be confident in our readiness. And we can then continuously monitor. One of the things that we're seeing continuously with customers is just because it was ready on Friday doesn't mean on Monday that it's actually still working. So that continuous monitoring element is key in demonstrating improvement over time. So we're really excited about this. This is going to GA in January, in Q1 timeframe 2020. So look forward for more from here. You do not have to be an existing customer of security validation. It's a completely packaged solution with everything that you need. So let's jump over to automated defense. Kevin mentioned software that learns, technology that adapts. This is really where we're focused on taking Mandiant expertise and creating a virtual analyst that can scale at machine speed. We all know when we're doing things like operationalizing threat intelligence or alert triage or remediation and response, we have to cut down the amount of data that we're looking at based upon the number of humans that we have. This changes that. This allows us to focus top of the funnel, everything coming in, understanding if it's getting intel hits, understanding the relevance in the environment, going through the full process of assessment as if an expert was doing it, all through our virtual analyst and automated defense. And these are actually models, decision models, machine learning models that are trained by and based on how our experts respond and are then continuously adapting based upon our threat intelligence, based upon the customer's environment, which is a really important note. We can't just take an external view. We have to understand internally the assets, the communication, the traffic analysis, et cetera, to make good judgment. And at this point, then we're going to provide faster, more accurate, and more reliable results. One of the challenges with humans looking at this, at trying to do it at speed, at scale, is that human intuition is applied inconsistently, even if there's documented processes. You have bad days, you have less experienced people. This gets removed and lets us drive prioritization based upon the expertise and intelligence, and then let humans focus on the things that are prioritized. And really, this is, again, a theme throughout the Mandiant Advantage platform. Everything that we're doing is about increasing the effectiveness and efficiency of detection and response. So just as with the validation family, we have a new announcement to make as well with the automated defense family, a new offering. Really exciting. And we're calling this active breach and intel monitoring. A little bit of a mouthful. Effectively, this is really about plugging into the Mandiant responder live for the first time. So this connects what we're doing in the field directly into the security data coming into our customers' environments. As our consultants are in the field identifying evil, as they're finding things in a breach, we immediately then start checking that against the security data coming into a customer's environment, their logs, their events, their alerts, in real time and up to in the past. So 30 plus days, 6 months, whatever it's configured for, we're going to look for, is this active breach happening in your environment right now? And has it happened there recently? Pretty game changing. So I want to kind of jump in and look at what some of this product screenshots are going to look like, because I think it tells a good story and explains it probably better than I can. So here we're looking at a kind of a breakdown of our decision models, and obviously there's a lot of details under the covers here. This is a roll-up kind of aggregated view, but if you see, we started on the left, and in this case, we did a 24-hour look over the multiple millions of events and alerts coming in, and we had over 350,000 hits. A hit is going to be an event or alert that has something in it that matches threat intelligence. And so of those 350,000 hits, as our decision models ran through, looked at things like the atomic indicators and our M-score models, looked at traffic analysis and asset analysis, attribution analysis, all the various steps that we go through, we were able to identify that 2 of these 350,000 hits were actually critical and needed to be investigated. One of them was pretty quick and short process. We're seeing this in an active breach right now. We've created an investigation and automated defense for you. Click here to talk. Of course, we would also be proactively reaching out, not waiting for you to click there. Other cases that are less obvious, maybe it's some intel from an open source list that needs more due diligence, or maybe it's something that's not just an active or recent breach. We're going to go through a much more analytical process, but doing this consistently, again, top of the funnel, looking at everything. So this is an example where we found a hit from a firewall log. We've confirmed that we've seen this in other customers recently in malicious activity. We've confirmed that there's a high prevalence in the financial industry in this case, which is an important view to have when you're trying to understand the impact of something. We're skipping a few things here for time, but then ultimately we deduced that this was not blocked by the control. So the firewall allowed this traffic. We've seen it attributed to a uncategorized actor. We had a Mandiant expert review it, and that's an important point about this is an as-a-service offering that is not just automation, but it has Mandiant experts reviewing things as well in that process. And we've again chosen to escalate. So this is a really powerful example where a lot of organizations, they turn on that fire hose of threat intel, and they get 350,000 alerts, and they just turn it right back off because there's just no chance that we can actually be effective in that with the amount of analysts that we have. This is really taking the vision that Kevin was talking about, automation of the expertise, applying it to this the specific use case, and saying out of this haystack we found two very, very important needles and escalated these for you automatically. So pretty powerful offering. This one as well is going to be GAing in Q1 2022. Obvious, again, increase in detection and response efficacy and efficiency. So I want to also here talk a little bit about attack surface management. It's a little under 60 days since we acquired Intrigue, which is our latest module for the Mandiant Advantage platform that's being integrated now into our workflows and into the platform. And we're already seeing great results, finding things. We got a quote recently from a customer of, I've had several organizations come in and pen test me, and they didn't find this critical vulnerabilities that you guys found on day one. So we're seeing great results from the technology. This is really about seeing yourself through the eyes of an attacker and doing so continuously because that footprint is constantly changing, right? Discovering your assets, mapping your assets is great. That has to be continuous. From there, you can prioritize and mitigate the risk. And what you're going to see as this is integrated into the modules we've talked about already is it creates very powerful workflows to mitigate that risk. From a threat intelligence point of view, one thing that's very popular with our customers is our vulnerability scoring, because we look beyond the typical aspects of a vulnerability score and we understand if it's being exploited in the wild, what that score should be. In this case, we can change and adapt that score based upon your own exposure. So if we found that exploit in your attack surface, that score can be relative to that and actually drive priority. In validation, if you fail a control test, we can bump that up on prioritization if we know that the types of assets that it exploits are in your environment. In automated defense and the various modules there, we're automatically adjusting our models and decisions based upon the type of asset we see the attacks coming in on. So it's not just a powerful new module, but it really increases the effectiveness of the entire platform. So that's just a high-level review of the various modules, and you'll continue to see this to grow. It's great to see us going from 1 to 4 just in the first 12 months. But one other kind of final point here is that when we talk about partnering with Mandiant, this is a flexible delivery. So everything that we just talked about is available as SaaS technology for organizations that have large teams and are able to operationalize it themselves. Expert assisted, where we're there when you need us. It can be packaged with our consulting solutions, packaged with other aspects of us helping you deploy it. And then fully managed, when you just want to trust Mandiant to execute this for you and alert you when you need to take action. So that's all I had. Thanks a lot for the time today.